Have you been feeling like something is changing beneath the surface, even if nothing obvious has happened yet? If this message found you today, it may not be a coincidence. There is a powerful emotional shift taking place, and it surrounds the person your heart has never truly forgotten. The doubts that once stood like a wall between you and your soulmate are beginning to lose their power. What seemed impossible only a short time ago is quietly transforming in ways that cannot always be seen, but can certainly be felt. For a long time, your soulmate carried questions they didn't know how to answer. They wondered whether they were ready for real love. They questioned whether this connection was too intense, too complicated, or simply too good to be true. Instead of trusting their heart, they allowed fear to guide their decisions. All disappointments, painful memories, and emotional scars convinced them that keeping their distance was the safest choice. But something has changed. Life has a way of bringing clarity when people least expect it. Recent experiences have forced your soulmate to pause and reflect. They have started looking back at the choices they made and the reasons behind them. As they revisit those moments, they are beginning to realize that many of the doubts they held onto were never based on the truth of your connection. They were built from fear, uncertainty, and the weight of past experiences that had nothing to do with you. Slowly, those emotional clouds are beginning to clear. The more they reflect, the more they understand that running away from their feelings never brought them peace. Ignoring the connection did not make it disappear. Instead, it remained quietly present, waiting for the moment when they were emotionally ready to face it honestly. Every attempt to distract themselves only highlighted what was missing inside their heart. What's especially significant is that this shift isn't being forced by anyone else. It's coming from within. True transformation happens when someone reaches their own moment of understanding, and that is exactly where your soulmate appears to be. They're beginning to see your connection through new eyes, without the fear, confusion, and emotional barriers that once distorted everything. That doesn't mean every answer has appeared overnight. Healing is a process, and emotional clarity often arrives step by step. But every small realization is removing another layer of doubt. Every lesson they've learned is helping them become more open to the possibility that the bond you share deserves another chance. At the same time, this message is also a reminder for you. While your soulmate is releasing what has held them back, your own journey matters just as much. Continue choosing peace over worry. Continue becoming the best version of yourself. Sometimes the greatest progress happens quietly, long before anyone can see the results, because when fear finally loses its grip, love has room to speak, and what finally caused your soulmate to question everything they once believed about this connection may be even more unexpected than you imagine. In the next part, we'll explore the unmistakable signs they could no longer ignore, signs that kept leading their heart back to you, no matter how hard they tried to look away. As your soulmate began letting go of fear, something remarkable started happening. The signs they once dismissed as meaningless became impossible to ignore. What they had tried so hard to push aside kept finding its way back into their thoughts, their emotions, and even their everyday life. It was as if life itself was gently encouraging them to stop running and finally pay attention. At first, these moments seemed small. Your name might have crossed their mind without any clear reason. A familiar song suddenly reminded them of you. They passed a place that brought back a memory they thought they had forgotten. They may have even caught themselves smiling while thinking about a conversation the two of you once shared. These weren't moments they planned. They simply appeared, quietly but persistently. The more they tried to distract themselves, the more these reminders surfaced. There were quiet evenings when everything around them became still, and despite all their efforts to stay busy, their thoughts naturally drifted back to you. They began asking themselves questions they had avoided for a long time. Why can't I stop thinking about this person? Why does this connection still feel so important? What if I misunderstood what my heart was trying to tell me? Those questions marked the beginning of real emotional honesty. Your soulmate also started noticing patterns they couldn't easily explain. They kept encountering symbols, meaningful coincidences, or situations that reminded them of your bond. Whether someone unexpectedly mentioned your name, they experienced a vivid dream, or they simply felt an unexplained pull toward memories of you. Each experience gently chipped away at the doubts they had built over time. Instead of seeing these moments as random, they began wondering if there was a deeper lesson hidden within them. Most importantly, they started recognizing that suppressing their feelings wasn't bringing them the peace they had hoped for. Every attempt to convince themselves that they had moved on only revealed how much unresolved emotion still remained. The connection wasn't demanding their attention out of weakness. It was asking them to face something they had never fully understood. As this awareness grew, their heart became louder than their fears. The voice that once whispered, "Stay away to avoid getting hurt," slowly began changing into something entirely different. Now another thought started emerging. Maybe I've been protecting myself from the very happiness I've been searching for. That realization can be deeply emotional. It requires humility to admit that fear has been making the decisions instead of love. But this is exactly the kind of inner transformation that opens the door to healing. Meanwhile, you may also be sensing this energetic shift. You may feel unusually calm, experience unexpected hope, or simply have a quiet feeling that something is changing. Whether or not you fully understand why, trust your own emotional growth as well. Meaningful connections often evolve long before they become visible in the physical world, because once someone can no longer ignore what their heart has been quietly saying all along, the next step becomes inevitable. In the next segment, we'll explore the powerful inner battle your soulmate is facing, and how they're finally choosing to release the fears that kept them emotionally distant for so long. For a long time, your soulmate felt caught between two powerful forces. Their heart kept reminding them of the connection they shared with you, while their mind insisted that staying distant was the safer choice. This inner conflict created emotional exhaustion. Every time they considered opening up, old fears stepped in to convince them that love would only lead to disappointment, but that battle is beginning to come to an end. They've started recognizing that many of the walls they built were never meant to protect them forever. Those walls were created during painful seasons of life, when trust had been broken and vulnerability felt dangerous. While those defenses may have once served a purpose, they now realize those same barriers have also kept genuine love from reaching them. This understanding hasn't come easily. It has required moments of deep reflection and emotional honesty. Instead of blaming circumstances or other people, your soulmate is beginning to look inward. They're asking themselves whether fear has been making decisions that should have come from the heart. That question alone has opened the door to profound personal growth. As they continue this journey, they're slowly releasing old disappointments, regrets, and limiting beliefs. The weight they've carried for so long is becoming lighter. They no longer want to let yesterday's pain determine tomorrow's possibilities. For the first time in a long while, hope feels stronger than hesitation. One of the biggest realizations they're experiencing is that avoiding this connection never truly brought them peace. No matter how much time passed, something always felt incomplete. The emptiness they tried to ignore kept returning, gently reminding them that unfinished emotions cannot stay buried forever. Now, they're beginning to understand that true courage isn't found in running away from love. It's found in facing it with honesty. Little by little, fear is losing its influence, and trust is beginning to take its place. This emotional breakthrough is creating space for a brand new chapter. The person who once doubted everything is becoming someone willing to believe again. And as those final layers of uncertainty fall away, they're preparing to take a step they may have avoided for far too long. In the next segment, we'll explore how your soulmate is opening their heart once again, and why the energy surrounding this connection is becoming stronger with each passing day. Now that many of the fears and doubts have begun to fade, your soulmate is entering a completely different emotional space. The person who once hesitated to acknowledge their feelings is slowly becoming someone who is ready to embrace them. This isn't a sudden transformation. It is the result of countless quiet moments of reflection, healing, and personal growth. For perhaps the first time in a long while, they're allowing themselves to imagine what life could look like if they stopped letting fear make every decision. Instead of focusing on everything that could go wrong, they're beginning to think about everything that could finally go right. That simple shift in perspective is changing the way they see both themselves and your connection. One of the biggest changes taking place is self-forgiveness. Your soulmate has spent a long time replaying past choices in their mind. They may have wondered if they waited too long, said the wrong things, or allowed outside influences to shape decisions they should have made for themselves. Those thoughts have weighed heavily on their heart. But now they're starting to understand that holding on to guilt cannot change the past. What it can do is prevent them from creating a better future. As they release that burden, they're becoming emotionally lighter. The walls they once built for protection are no longer as strong as they used to be. Those walls aren't falling because someone forced them down. They're falling because your soulmate finally sees that not everyone is meant to hurt them. They're beginning to realize that genuine love requires openness, trust, and the courage to be vulnerable. Another important change is that they're learning to listen to their own heart instead of the opinions of others. In the past, outside voices may have created confusion or encouraged them to doubt what they truly felt. But those voices are growing quieter now. The only voice becoming stronger is the one inside them, the one that keeps reminding them of the peace, comfort, and connection they associate with you. This growing emotional clarity is also changing their priorities. Things that once seemed important no longer carry the same weight. They're becoming less interested in protecting their pride and more interested in protecting what truly matters. That is a powerful sign of emotional maturity. At the same time, this is your reminder to continue honoring your own journey. While your soulmate is opening their heart, your role isn't to chase or force an outcome. Continue investing in your own happiness, your own healing, and your own sense of peace. Healthy connections are strongest when both people grow individually before they come together. The energy between you is becoming softer, calmer, and more open than it has been in a long time. Emotional resistance is giving way to acceptance, and hesitation is slowly being replaced with hope. Although every journey unfolds in its own time, the foundation for honest communication and deeper understanding is quietly being rebuilt. Because once a heart opens after being closed for so long, it rarely wants to return to fear. And in the final segment, we'll explore what this new beginning could mean for your connection and why the next chapter carries the potential for renewed trust, healing, and love. As we reach the end of this message, one truth stands above everything else. The doubts that once kept your soulmate at a distance are no longer holding the same power. What once felt like an impossible emotional barrier is slowly giving way to understanding, healing, and hope. The journey hasn't always been easy, but every lesson, every moment of reflection, and every challenge has brought both of you closer to becoming the people you were meant to be. Your soulmate is beginning to realize that love cannot flourish where fear is allowed to lead. For too long, uncertainty shaped their decisions. They questioned their feelings, second-guessed their instincts, and allowed old wounds to influence new possibilities. But now, they're seeing that protecting themselves from every risk also meant protecting themselves from genuine happiness. That awareness changes everything. As they continue releasing emotional baggage, they're creating space for trust to grow. They're no longer focused only on what went wrong in the past. Instead, they're becoming curious about what could go right if they choose honesty, openness, and courage. This shift doesn't erase yesterday's experiences. It simply refuses to let them control tomorrow. At the same time, This message carries an important reminder for you. While it's comforting to believe that meaningful changes may be happening in someone else's heart, your own peace should never depend on another person's choices. Continue building a life that brings you joy. Continue healing, learning, and becoming the version of yourself that feels whole, with or without any particular outcome. Personal growth is never wasted, and the love you give yourself becomes the foundation for every healthy relationship you create. Sometimes the most beautiful reunions happen after two people have grown separately. Time apart can teach lessons that time together never could. It can replace fear with wisdom, insecurity with confidence, and confusion with clarity. Whether your paths cross again or your journey leads somewhere unexpected, every experience has the potential to help you become stronger, kinder, and more emotionally fulfilled. So take this message as an invitation to move forward with hope rather than worry. Let patience replace anxiety. Let faith replace doubt. Trust that the right conversations, the right opportunities, and the right moments will unfold when both hearts are truly ready. If this message resonated with you, carry its encouragement into your day. Remember that healing often begins quietly, long before the results become visible. The greatest transformations usually happen within the heart first, and everything else follows in time. Thank you for spending these moments with me. If you enjoyed this reading, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future messages. And in the comments below, write, "I release fear and welcome love." May this affirmation remind you to move forward with confidence. Embrace your own growth and stay open to the beautiful possibilities that life still has in store.